Every day, millions of women wake up determined to keep life moving. They care for their families, meet deadlines at work, build businesses, nurture relationships, support friends, and often become the emotional backbone for everyone around them. But behind the smiles, the strength, and the resilience, many women are silently battling emotional exhaustion, overwhelming anxiety, persistent sadness, and burnout. Some dismiss it as just stress. Others told to pray harder and be stronger, or simply snap out of it. Yet, mental health challenges are real, and when ignored, they affect not just women but families, workplace, and entire communities. Today on Women's World, we are asking an important question. How do we recognize when stress has become something more serious? How can women protect their emotional well-being without feeling guilty? And how do we build healthier families by prioritizing mental wellness? Hello and welcome to Women's World on Global Television, where we have bold, honest, and solution-driven conversation about realities shaping women, families, leadership, and society today. I am Kike Lomo Okeri, and joining me are my amazing co-hosts, Priscilla Obasi and Anita Patrick. Hi, please.
Hi, Kike.
Always a pleasure, always exciting to be here to talk about issues around women. Today's topic is really something that is worth having. Mental health is still one of the least, the very least conversations that we rarely talk about. And it's no time. Very important conversation to have today.
Well, interesting, we're here, and like we always do, we always have issues around women. Like we say, it's always bold discussion, and how to get women to understand their priorities and also have self-care for themselves as well.
Alright. Mental health is still one of the least understood aspects of health, especially among women. Many women continue to carry invisible emotional burdens because they are afraid of being judged, misunderstood, or seen as weak. Some continue functioning while silently falling apart. Others don't even realize they are struggling without they've normalized emotional exhaustion.
Absolutely, Kike. What's even more concerning is that anxiety, depression, and burnout don't always look the way people expect it to look. People just relax and feel it's a normal way of life. But someone is always there smiling, going to work, attending to crisis, or going to church, raising children and showing up for everyone else, while quietly battling emotional pain, which is quite true. Well, that's why this conversation is very important, because awareness can save lives and also give people that assurance that life is worth living.
Exactly. Mental health is just as important physical health. When women are emotionally healthy, families become healthier, children thrive, and communities become stronger. Stay with us after the break. We'll be joined by an outstanding psychologist who is helping shaping families across Nigeria understand emotional wellness and build mentally healthier homes. Don't go away, stay with us after the break. Women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never defined us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across, because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered.
Every story matters, every voice counts, because women are empowered to change families,
communities and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, today's discussion is mental health, understanding anxiety, depression, and burnout in women. Joining us today is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi, a family psychologist, certified addiction specialist, and child and adolescent mental health advocate with over a decade of experience promoting emotional wellness among children, adolescents, and families. She is a psychologist at the All-Star Wellbeing and Recovery Center, where she supports individuals and families through psychotherapy, family therapy, and mental health education. She is also the convener of Smart Parenting Child and Adolescent Mental Health Summit, empowering parents, educators, and communities with evidence-based approach to raise emotionally healthy children. She is passionate about strengthening families, preventing mental health crises through early intervention, and helping people build emotional balanced, purpose-driven lives. Oluwatoyin, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're
It's such a
welcome.
pleasure to have you, ma'am.
Of course.
Okay, maybe I take the lead. I don't know. Maybe that's the question.
I had to go
Mental
ahead.
health is becoming a more common conversation today, and maybe some people have embraced it, but some people are yet to even see it as a serious, thing. Some people do not fully really understand what mental health is. So, can you educate our audience as well as educate us on what mental health priority and prioritizing mental health should be like?
Okay, so when you talk of mental health is actually a state of well-being whereby one is able to think right, feel right, and also act right. It's a state of well-being whereby one is able to realize his or her abilities, you're able to learn, you're able to work, you're able to contribute to the society, and you're able to function in the larger society. So that's basically what mental health is in a nutshell. So I kind of paraphrased it so that people can actually understand what mental health is. And the good thing about it is that we all have mental health. So our mental health is on a spectrum, starting from excellent mental health all the way to poor mental health or mental disorders or mental challenges. So we all have mental health, and it's important as individuals that we learn how to protect our mental health so that we do not end up having mental disorders.
Mental disorders. So at what point would I say I'm having mental health issues? Because I don't feel like it's a Gen Z thing. Every small thing, my mental health. You're tired of relationship, my mental health. You're tired of going to work, my mental health. So at what point do we say it's normal? You're already having a breakdown. Where do we draw the line between laziness and mental health issues?
Okay, so when you say mental disorder, so mental disorder basically, what you're trying to say is when one is having a mental disorder or a mental challenge. So when you say one has a mental challenge, it means one is not able to act right, think right, and is not able to feel right. And it's when this situation can cause a form of distress, or it can empower you, or can affect your ability to work, your ability to have very good relationship, or your ability to carry out your daily functioning. That's when we say the person has a mental challenge. Now, what's the divide? How do you know? So there are certain things you would do normally when you're in a good or you have an excellent state or an excellent state of mental health. You're able to go to work, you're able to eat, you're able to sleep, you're able to have conversation with people, you're able to have good relationship with people, and you're also able to act. So you're reasoning well, you're saying things that people can understand what you're saying. And all this characterizes, all this shows up that, oh, this person has a good mental health. But when all these are not happening, that's when we say, oh, the person has a mental disorder. And one of the things we need to also know is that good health, when you say someone is healthy, it's not just the person being physically healthy. Also, the mental health of the person needs to be healthy. That's why we say the person has a holistic good health. But if the person is mentally challenged, when you say the person is not being able to think right, feel right, or act right, we say the person has a mental challenge or a mental disorder.
Okay, so I like the fact that mental health is actually what we're talking about, because I see some organizations tend to give a day off if your mental state is not stable. So it gives you the ability to refresh and feel fresh to start off again, because I know organizations that do that. So women often juggle multiple responsibility: career, caregiving, financial burden, because of course in the 21st century today, women are not left out of responsibility to the family as well. And women are always particularly seen to be vulnerable to emotional exhaustion, because when a woman starts bearing children, her mental state is going through a whole lot because she's doing a lot. So women tend to be vulnerable to emotional exhaustion, but they don't know at what point to pause and care for themselves. So how will they manage such states, dealing with the mental state they have?
So I like the fact that you started by saying that women multitask. We have multi-roles that we take on. You're a mother, so let's even start. Let's go zzz. No, let's go zzz. You're a daughter, first of all.
Okay, that's
your daughter. You're a sister. You're your son's aunt or cousin, your son's wife, your son's mother. Now, not just a mother, you're also taking the role of either an employee or an employer or a businesswoman. So we multitask, we have different roles. And because we have different roles, it's, I don't know if it's it's a silent rule that, oh, you need to take up all this role and you don't need to complain. And the fact that you're taking on all this role, even when you're not able to do it, just do it. After all, you're not the first person to have done it. Your grandparents did it, your grandmother did it, your auntie is doing it. So you should be able to do it. But unfortunately, reality is that we can't do all at the same time. So as women, it's important that you know what can you take at this point in time. Do what you can do at this point in time, and do it. And what you cannot do, I tell people, if you can staff it, staff it. If you can delegate it, delegate it. If you can do it later, do it later. But at what point do you know that you are breaking down? When you realize that you're not able to sleep, you're not sleeping well, it's telling on you physically in terms of getting tired, you're not able to having conversation with people, and you're isolating yourself, you're afraid, you're sad. There's so many symptoms to show that, oh, this person is either overwhelmed or is burning out or is having a mental breakdown.
Okay. Well, that works out for me, because I've seen women withdraw a lot and they don't seem to understand why they're withdrawing. You see in a particular space and she starts getting, although there's a saying that when women have fewer friends, fewer, it shows that she has her own space. But I think in that state, there's a need for one to start checking on the woman to know if she's mentally stable. Because like I said, when you start like with daughter, you get to be wife, auntie, all of those things are responsibility, and women are caregivers. So we always want to overwhelm ourselves and not recognize the points of or the warning signs. And like you said, there are warning signs until maybe we start paying attention to the warning signs. That's people around women who see the warning signs of the mental breakdown to start paying attention to those things. So break it down for us to understand the breakdown that people need to, when they start burning out. When women start burning out, what signs should family members or loved ones, let's say for instance, let's say husband, a fiancé or boyfriend, whatever, sister, brother, early signs you can see and start, maybe it's a hug she needs, so those things that we need.
So once you notice that there's a change in the person's, so the person has changed from who the person used to be. So the person used to be a sweet lady, all of a sudden she's becoming very irritable. She's snapping at everyone, she's shouting, she's screaming. That's the sign that something is going on. If the person normally eats normally, but all of a sudden the person is no longer eating, or the person is overeating, you'll be like, what's happening? Or in the case whereby the person sleeps normally and the person no longer sleeps, person is awake till the next day, the person is just going on and on, or the person is isolating herself,
Okay.
the person is no longer coming out to have conversations with friends, the person is no longer going out with friends, or the person, things that used to be interesting to the person is no longer interested in things that used to be fun. For her. So these are subtle signs that, okay, there's something happening. Then the person is always getting maybe anxious or, afraid, that something bad is going to happen, or the person is just sad. The person has low mood.
Okay.
And when the person is a cheerful person, or you notice that the person's energy is very low compared to before, person is dragging herself, normally the person is very agile, she used to do things very bubbly, but just notice that there's a decline in the person's energy. So these are subtle signs that, okay, there might be something wrong. But the ones that are very, very obvious is irritability. Person becoming very irritable, snapping at everyone, or the person has low mood. Or the person is just anxious, hypervigilant. Any small thing, person is, what is it? What's
triggered by every sound.
Triggered by every sound and all that,
Okay.
And many women continue to function despite they are going through emotional stress. How can they balance? Can let's say the person appears successful and yet still battling with depression? How can such person balance such situation? Because right inside that person, right inside that woman, she's burning out, she's depressed, she's going through a lot of emotional problem, yet she needs to appear, I am strong, I am successful, I need to be there for everybody. How can such women balance such situation?
So the thing about our society is that we have quite a number of people who are functional, but they are actually battling with a mental disorder or a mental challenge. And because it's not written on the forehead, a lot of people want to know that, oh, this person has a lot going on for her. And that's why it's important, like she said, let's always check up on our friends. Let's check up on our boss. Hi, ma, hope you're doing. I just have to say hi to you. Check up on that sister of yours, that auntie of yours. Just check up, because that phone call might actually save a whole lot. Now, what can women do? You're going through stress, you know that you have a lot of responsibility. You can't drop your responsibility and say you're going to sit at home and going to start sobbing or start. So, and that's where self-care comes in. So it's important as women that we learn to take care of ourselves. So self-care is not you being selfish. Self-care is you knowing what is good for you at that point in time and doing what is needed for you. One of the things I do is that I work with women. I have this platform where I work with women. I talk about thriving women, how you can thrive. And thriving simply means that, yes, things are not going on well, but that is not stopping you. You've been able to take a pause. You've been able to look at, okay, what can I do now
To change.
what can I do now to help me to move to the next level in terms of mentally, socially, financially, and also spiritually. So one of the things women can do to help themselves, number one, you need to be aware of your stress threshold. You need to know how far or how far can you stretch? How far can you stretch? You need to know that, because if you don't know this, you just keep taking on everything, and because you're taking on everything,
Become a burden bearer.
you become a burden bearer, and everybody keeps dumping their mess on you, and you're not able to talk. So you need to know your stress threshold, so that you can pause and tell people, okay, it's okay. I think let me take a breather. So that's the first thing. You need to know your self-awareness. The second thing women need to do is that they need to know how to regulate their emotional regulation. So when you're tired, what can you do? Pause. Go and look for things to do to make you get better. If you're sad, who can you talk to? If you're anxious, what can you do? What are the mindfulness exercises you can do to take your mind off whatever it is that is making you anxious? And so emotional regulation is very, very important. The other thing we need to do as women is that we need to limit our exposure to negativity. So there are a lot of negative things happening online. By the time you open your social media, your phone, there's so many negative things. Anything that is affecting, anything that's going to affect you, that's going to affect your mental state, just do away with it. You can even do digital detox, get off the phone for a week, 2 weeks, just do that, just to get yourself
Cleansed.
But if you have friends around you that the only thing they're telling you is just negative news, have you heard? Have you heard? I don't want to hear, please, I'm okay. So you need to limit your exposure to negative things, to negative people, because this will also help you to balance, okay, I'm mentally down now, but I need to get myself up.
To boost it up.
And that takes me to finding fun hobbies. You need to do things for yourself. As mothers, as a sister, as a daughter,
As auntie.
you are doing so many things for so many people.
Yeah.
But what are you doing for yourself? So you need to find a fun hobby to do. Find something fun that would help you to, so when you know that I'm tired or I'm stressed, what can I do to bring myself up? Go to the movies, take yourself
to the spa.
out, go to the
That's
spa.
a relaxation thing.
I love that. Go to the spa, go to the park, go window shopping. You don't need to buy, you can just sightseeing. But you need to have something fun that you need to do for yourself. Because if you don't have anything fun doing for yourself, you just feel miserable.
Sure.
You are going to the work, you're taking care of the children.
You have like a tricycle.
As in, you just feel
kind of like-
you just feel as if you are not. You just feel as if you're just you're living. You're just existing, but you're not living. So you don't want that. Then also, okay, do you have a question? So also, what else can you do to balance that? Ask for help.
Okay.
You're not a superwoman. So you need to be able to ask for help. As women, ask for help. There's nothing wrong in asking your fellow sister, right now, I'm stressed. Can you help me pick my children from school? Oh, when are you going to the market? Can I give you some money to help me buy some things when you're going to the market? Or you have someone that school runs children's, so it's already in your estate that the children go to the same school. Please, can you help me with school run? Or even your spouse. Tell your spouse or your partner, I need to rest. Can you help me to do this? Because a lot of women don't ask for help. They just keep on
Keeping themselves.
absorbing. So let me pause for now.
I mean, I enjoyed every bit of I am enjoying every bit of what you've said, but let's talk about the reality of African homes.
Yeah.
Where a woman has to prove that she's a woman by going through stress. You have to, there's this badge of honor that comes, to you when you're able to do that.
Yes, exactly. In African homes, they believe you must push.
If you don't push, you're not a woman. You're not a real woman. So sometimes you want to really show your weaknesses, but basically you have to behave, because you want to impress. Let me not even say the word impress, because some people are not even trying to impress. Basically, they're just like trying to live up with that reality, the demand of society. And maybe you're at a phase where you feel, I can't work, and then someone calls it laziness, or I need help, somebody calls it laziness. You're just, thinking too much about everything, having to accept the misconceptions, affecting women's willingness to help. So I remember, I'm trying to load a scenario that happened, but somehow it's just keeping. But I remember a certain time. Yes, it happened to me. I was trying to get married then, and then I go to my in-laws' house, and there was this expectation of, you come here, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to cook. I had to, I had to talk to my husband and say, please, because I knew deep down that if I start this thing, I will finish it, and it will continue. Because my husband then had an office setting in his father's house. So when I came, I wanted to come around to help with the office work, but because it was in a family house, I had to divide. Somehow there was this dilemma of, do I go to the office setting to help, or do I go to the kitchen to help and to impress? Do you understand? But I really had to spell it out. It was a very difficult situation for me. It was quite dicey because There was a point my mother-in-law now said to me, "You are doing modern wife." You know, so you are trying to, you are a modern wife. That's the way she put it. So he really wanted me to, or he pushed me somehow to want to start overthinking it. But I had to woman up. I don't want to say man up because I'm not a man, but I had to really stand firm because I know that if I cannot continue what I start, it still becomes a problem eventually. But there are lots of women that really don't know how to draw that line, and it becomes a problem in the future, basically because they're trying to let everyone accept you, right? So there's such a situation, especially in the African setting. How do you address that for women that find themselves in that dilemma?
Okay, so sorry I went through that. So the first thing, when I started, when I was talking about what can you do, you need to know yourself. You need to know what are your strengths. You need to know what are your weaknesses. You need to know what you can do and what you cannot do. And don't start what you, like you said, don't start what you can not finish. So know yourself and so for women who are about to get married, this is my advice to you now. Have a discussion with your spouse to be, or your boyfriend, or your fiancé. Let him know that this is how far I can go. And he should be able to communicate with his own parents that, see, let's adjust our expectation. I'm not marrying a house help.
Exactly.
I'm marrying a lady that is coming to join our family. Of course, she'll do her part as the wife in the home. But let's reduce these expectations. And for you, the woman too, what are you trying to prove? You're trying to prove what you are not.
Life material.
And so you're the one putting yourself in that situation. There's nothing wrong in whenever you go around, you help out, do your bit. But you're not yet even married to the person, so they will use you. What if the guy ends up marrying you? Exactly. So just use But there's something wrong in helping out. That's also part of being kind, being loving and all that. But don't do things that you know would affect your mental health. And there are ways you can speak up. There's something we call assertive communication. Saying things, saying how you feel, saying what you want, saying what you don't want in a respectful manner. You don't need to go and start shouting, "Well, I'm not your house help. I beg. But there are ways you say it and let them know that, Mom, anytime I come around, I like to do X, Y, Z. And if they're not being, I'm so sorry, ma, I don't have the ability to do that now yet. However, can I get somebody? So if you can staff it, then staff it.
Exactly. That's modern. I like it.
Okay. So while we're doing the modern part,
Actually modern.
the first context is modern. I like the fact that you're able to draw those lines. Just like you said, first thing first starts with knowing yourself.
You have to know yourself.
If you discover yourself early, it makes life easy for you.
Exactly.
You know your do's and don'ts. You have standards. Standards doesn't mean you're rude. Standards doesn't mean you don't know left or right. Even the God himself gave us life and gave us death as a gift. He told you choose. He doesn't have control over your choices. So when you're doing your things, you need to be sure of what choices you make that are comfortable and that can still give you your space. We've talked about women's mental state. We deal with a lot of things. You start with sisterhood. You deal with your brothers. Brothers can be very troublesome sometimes. When they come and they just push your head, when you're not in the frame of mind to play, they just want to push around to test your patience and see how you relate. Then let's move from motherhood to wife, which I just cleared up. Let's get to when you're not a wife, you're not a mother. Motherhood comes with a whole lot of psychological change that comes with it because your body is changed. The man stays the same way he is, apart from his stomach, probably you fed him enough. And then the body changes comes. But the woman deals with pregnancy challenges, the changes to the body system, which is also affecting you mentally because you're looking at your body like, this is not me now. The mirror tells you a different thing. You look at it like, that comes with pregnancy. Then let's not get into childbirth. Your whole system is different. And then there's postpartum. There's that mental state of where you need to find the balance of finding you and knowing how to be a mother and care. That is a very strenuous phase of life for women. How would family begin to distinguish between those changes and knowing when the woman needs help, needs that professional care? Because I like what the modern day women do today, who discover themselves early. They staff, just like you say, they look for staff who care for. Even me, I staff things when I know that when my money can afford, I go for it. It reduces stress for me. So where can families understand that place so they don't begin to see it as a problem thing where, oh, because our son now married you, you're now giving him too much expenses, wanting to bring you this, wanting to. So where can families understand the place of the professional help to balance the mental state of the woman in that phase of her life, because she's just giving birth, she cannot jump into the workspace and make money to support you.
Okay, so thank you so much for that question. So, like you said, self-awareness is key. It's important that you know yourself as a woman, and it's also important that you know the family you're marrying into, and it's also important you know your spouse. And that's why it's important you marry a kind person. Because if you're not married to a kind man, when you're going through all this, he would expect you to come and cook his food, take care of the child, and do everything. So that's why it's important.
And come to the other room too.
And that's why it's important that you marry a kind person. Now, for this scenario now that you've painted, you're a mother, you have so many things happening to you, your hormones are going up and down. Have a conversation with your spouse. Your spouse should know that, okay, at certain point or at certain period in the marriage, I would need help.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong in...
At certain periods, that's if it's something you foresee, because sometimes you're even going through it, you don't know what you need.
So for those, and that's why it's
self-awareness is very
and that's why it's also good to have older women around you. I'm a Christian, so there's a place in the Bible that says the older woman should teach the younger one how to take care of the husband, how to take care of the children, how to take care of the home. And that's why we need older women around, like mentors, like people that can help you out. So when you know these things, when you know that, okay, at least before you became a mother, you've gone through your menstrual cycle, you know that period when you might have cramps, and you have this discussion with your husband now, and he knows about it. So you should know the period where, okay, a certain period in the month, my wife needs to rest, and please support her in resting. And when you're out of that period, please go back and do your work.
Don't stay.
I'm talking about older women.
Okay.
Older women.
You're smiling when I was talking about
the reality they had, you know, what they accepted, is quite different from the current reality. I know that we've always had hardworking women. Women that would, you know, women have always been working. Somehow, maybe they've not gone to the work front of it, but women have owned businesses, even if it's petty trading, and try to manage. So there's this capacity that they've always had that makes them feel like, I did it, you can do it. And most times they want to give counsel from that point. Maybe the financial responsibility in that time was not solely, maybe was more of on their husbands than themselves. There are women that played supporting roles. There are women that actually even provided breadwinners from time past, and they did it so well. They will still give the credit to their husbands. You will not even know that they are the ones doing it. So we had such capacity of women, and you're married to a man that had that kind of a mother. You understand? And this women are supposed to now advise you. So where do they come? How do they want to tell you rest?
So let me say something. Do you know that those women, they had help around them?
Of course.
They had one cousin's child staying with them, one sister staying with them, so they had help. But in our generation, we don't have people like that coming to stay with us, and that's why you might need to staff it. Do you understand? So in that generation, yes, they did everything. They were homemakers, they were business women, but they had other people living with them, and that is one thing they keep forgetting. For those who keep saying that, oh, you're not being a strong woman, they've forgotten that when they were young, bright, they carried one small girl and said, "Yeah, follow your auntie to her husband's house." But in this generation, we don't have that happening, and that's why that's why it's important as women. Let's be objective. Let's be fair. Let's not say because you suffered something, and you know that when we're suffering, you didn't like it. So why would you want another person to suffer that same thing? Would you want your own daughter to go through that? Of course, the answer is no.
I think this is the part where we need to know where to be human first.
Yes.
When you're human first, it makes you see reality from the right aspect and how to treat people. One thing that plays a lot in life of a lot of families of the African home is that we are a fan of religion. We're a fan of sentiment. We're a fan of, so we forget where the humanity should play. Just like she's mentioned, be kind, and all of this becomes very clear because mental health is a challenge that goes beyond the talks, because people can slide into depression from when the mental state is not stable. We've seen numbers of women die in silence. People, for instance, let's take for instance the domestic violence that comes in. It started from the verbal abuse, and this is something she's been taking in, probably because my mother-in-law said this, or my family will be like this. I think basic thing that we've established right now is self-awareness. Doesn't mean you're rude. It makes you see your human part first. I'm not trying to take your role as the guest, but I'm just trying to state the obvious, because if you look at the human perspective of humanity, you will realize where stepping on somebody's toes is painful for you not to step on the person's toes.
That's true.
Where you need to know that if I step on this person's toes, if it was my own case, I will feel the pain. So I think we need to start telling people, educating people on the fact that humanity, kindness should overshadow showing off or trying to be what you're not. So that people's mental states can be normalized.
Exactly, Anita. One thing is clear, and it's becoming very clear, that mental health challenges are not always visible
at all.
Sometimes the strongest looking women is carrying the heaviest body.
Of course, Kike, we've learned that anxiety, depression, burnout are not signs of weakness, of course. They are health issues that deserve understanding, compassion, just like I mentioned, and proper care, because once you pay attention, you realize what is wrong.
Okay, so when we return, we'll discuss healing, recovery, family support, therapy, workplace wellness, and practical ways women can protect their emotional well-being. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
For too long, women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never define us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across, because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered.
Every story matters. Every voice counts because women are empowered to change families, communities, and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power.
All right, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Women's World on Global Television. Earlier, we explored how anxiety, depression, and burnout affect men and women, often silently. Now, let's focus on solutions. Of course, that's why we're here. How do women begin healing? How can families become better support systems? And what practical habits help protect mental wellness? Still with us is our guest, Oluwatoyin Ogunkanmi. I hope I got that correct.
Yes, you did. You did very, very well.
So many women feel guilty about taking time to rest, which we have highlighted. Because they believe everyone depends on them. There's this guilt trip, that comes with resting as a woman. Why do women struggle? Let's empathize with those that struggle to prioritize themselves. What is the reason behind it, and how can we conquer that?
So let's start from where we stopped. How do women how did they grow up?
Okay.
Because if you grew up in an environment where you've been told that you are the ada of the house, you have to do everything. You are the the first girl. You have to carry all your younger ones. You have to we are the assistant mommy of the house, and that's where it starts from. When we have, so we call it parentification, where a child takes up the role of a parent. Earlier. So that's where it starts from. And person now becomes a wife, and is still taking care of her family side. Now becomes taking of the husband, the children, and probably the his family too, So that's where it first starts from. And it's important as parents that please, as you're raising your children, raise them to be independent, excellent, and also raise them to know that they have a voice. They're able to say, oh, no, they know their limits and all that. It's very important that we raise our children to be more assertive. Because if your child is not assertive, the child will keep taking on things she's not meant to take, and it will affect, there'll be a burnout and a breakdown. Now, the second reason is that guilt that I'm resting and I've not washed the plates.
Seriously, that's
something. Their plates piling up somewhere. They've not been washed. Please, when I start, I say you need to know your stress threshold. Know when you're tired. Just rest. And when you are up, you go back and do those things. Nobody is coming to mark your register in your house to see how clean your house is or how dirty you are. It's you. Right, and it's because you're giving yourself so much, or you have a lot of expectations about your role as a wife. So maybe you need to readjust those expectations. Very important, readjust those expectations. Then have a routine, have a schedule. Know when to do when, or know when to do what. Because if you have a time, okay, in the morning I'll do X, Y, Z, in the afternoon I'll do this, in the evening I'll do that. That will also take stress off you. I'm a fan of staffing, delegating. You can delegate what you can do, but when you're delegating, know your role, know what you're delegating. Know that, okay, as a wife, maybe I don't want to delegate cooking. I'll be the one to cook meal in my house, but you could delegate the washing of the clothes.
Of course. And the plates.
And the
cleaning of the house.
And the cleaning of the house as well.
Makes life easy.
And make life easy. Or, if you love to clean, do the cleaning, and you could get someone to do the cooking. Do you understand? But just know how you balance it. You need to know how you're going to balance it. What can I do per time? Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and know how you can function per time. Then the ones you can't do, then you know there's this thing called the urgent and important.
Scale of preference, kind of thing.
Yeah, so know what is important per time. One of the things I tell women and I mentor is that, see, you can have everything you want to achieve in life, but you cannot have everything at the same time. You need to know the season you are in. So, for example, so for those that are raising toddlers, they know that they might need to have maybe house help, someone to support them, maybe a driver. For me now, my children are out of university. My younger is just going to go to university next year. So for Hannah, I don't need to have she should be able to do some of these things. And that's what's important as parents, that we also teach our children to be responsible and independent, so that everything will not fall
Back on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like the fact that you've been able to expatiate this. Let's talk about therapy. Although there's awareness, we've created awareness that women need to realize themselves, know when to stop. Because I'm a fan of knowing when to stop. So when you know many people still hesitate to go for a psychologist to talk to them. But like you mentioned earlier, you talked about knowing when to stop and knowing when to talk to somebody. And then you also talked about the fact that when you're aware, it guides you. But women are scared of stigmatization. Where they feel, if I go to the therapist now, my husband's brother or sister will now say, after all, my brother is spending money, and because she's going to therapy now to get her help, therapist will now know my secrets. I think we need to know when to draw the line, because we're talking about the recovery phase. If you've gone through that mental torture of postpartum drama, all of those stress related things that has affected your mental state, when should women realize that stigma is not what matters? It is your healing. And your being alive.
So let me start with the therapy part. So every therapist is bound by the code of conduct or the ethics, whereby they are not meant to, they can't even talk about whatever it is you've come to tell them about yourself. Do you understand? So that's the first thing that you are going for healing. You are going to get better. So what should be at the back of your mind is not the stigma. What will people say? People will talk. Your husband's family that you don't want them, they will still talk.
Of course.
If God forbid the person dies, they'll still talk that woman, she didn't really rest. So she will walk. And
you can't
so the most important thing is do what is important for your mental health. See a therapist. The role of the therapist is to walk you through, to provide you with tools and resources to help you to overcome whatever mental challenge you're going through at that point in time. And that's why it's important to seek help. I'm an advocate for early intervention because if the person does not seek help on time and goes later, it might be difficult for the person to go back to pre-morbid state. So the state the person was before all these things started, it might be very difficult.
Even after healing?
Even after so the healing process will not take longer. So maybe normally the person should have, maybe the person just felt, oh, I'm not feeling too good, I feel the way I'm thinking, that, and person really goes and gets early intervention. The person might just go for maybe 6 to 9, maybe 12 sessions, compared to the person that has been depressed for like 2 years, and the person is now out of it. By the time the person goes for therapy, the person might be placed on medication, the therapy might take longer and all that. So it's important that you go early for help. Early intervention is very, very important.
Okay, so I wanted to draw the line where we see women work hard, but there are some scenarios where the women don't even, you have the introverts, we have the extroverts. We have women who are introverts that rarely talk. It's just with their husband, they have a space. Okay, I just tell you 1 or 2 things, but with family members who could also help see some of the signs, they don't talk, they don't speak up, they just hide behind certain smile. But when you who is observant and religion, you observe it to see. And in that state of being an introvert, where they are supposed to come out to be the woman that we know in the African home, to provide, go all the way out, they just restrain themselves and don't support. Support in the sense that go all the way. So a woman cannot sit and watch her child not have basic needs. She just sits back. Is there a problem at that state?
I didn't get the question.
Okay. A woman is an introvert.
Yes.
Let me start from that. And then she's known to go work before she got married. And now she's married and she just leaves responsibility to the man. I don't marry, do the work. Even when she's dealing with personal stuff, she doesn't talk about it. She just hides. Everything is fine. When you ask, are you okay?
She just goes into her shell.
She just goes into her shell. So is there a problem at this stage with this woman? Is there something we need to look out for? She's an introvert, but she plays. But at this point, she's not coming all out like we know her to be when she was a single lady.
So when I said something when I was defining the mental disorder, so when there's a change in the way the person is thinking, the way the person feels, or the way the person acts, that should be a sign that, okay, there's something not
but when the
right.
person is not coming forth, how do you help?
Okay, so I've had patients whereby the friends have actually booked sessions for them and say, oh, just go and see her, just go and see her. We've noticed X, Y, Z with you. And for some people, they don't even know
what the problem is.
They don't even know how to get help. They don't even know where to go.
They feel insecure when you carry anything that's very attached to them.
So, and that's why it's important as a woman that you have at least 1 or 2 people that you can talk to, that you can confide in. Then even for the husband, you notice that there's a change in your wife. And I've had scenarios like that where husbands would call me and say, oh, I've noticed this change in my wife. Can you please speak with her? Okay. I said, okay, no problem. Invite her over, let her come. And by the time we start having the conversation, just realize that, oh, there are more deeper things that she's battling with, and she didn't know how to have this conversation with the spouse.
I want this conversation to be relatable to every Nigerian woman.
Okay.
Now, there's this set of women that you would expect somebody around them to know what's happening, maybe especially a spouse. But Maybe they're married to a carefree spouse that
Doesn't pay attention to.
connect. And it has become their reality. I mean, they have decided to block themselves. They have decided to cope, but they are coping wrongly. They are being overwhelmed, basically because that person that is meant to support them is not there, giving them the support.
Emotional support,
So
actually.
it's eating them up. And to them, they're coping, but they're dying on the inside. How do you speak to such women watching this now?
Okay, so if you're out there and you know that you're battling with something and you're looking for someone to talk to, please, there are mental health facilities around you that you can go to. They're not free, but you still need the help. You still, and you know, it's better you go and get the help than it becoming something that the whole nation now knows about. So if you know that you're going through something, please seek professional help. See a psychologist, see a therapist, go to the hospital. And funny enough, even general hospitals, they have
The hospitals that will not care for you when you're
funny enough, they have behavioral scientists, behavioral health scientists. That's what they call it there. So because if you say you're going to say mental health, that's still that mental health. A lot of people won't want to go. So you have behavioral health scientists. Go and see them, professionals, and they would help you out. But it's important that you know, check changes in yourself. If you notice that you're not sleeping well, if you notice you're not eating well or you're eating too much, if you notice that things that used to be interested in, you're no longer interested in those things, you are becoming more irritable, angry, any small thing you snap at, please go and get help.
Okay.
Right, go and get help.
Okay, so substance abuse is also a problem.
I want to ask, many women that are going through emotional trauma, distress and all that, and unable to express themselves. Yes, you want your children to see you as a strong woman. I can take it all. You don't want them to know that probably you might be having an issue with your husband or your husband's family. You're going through all this emotional trauma, all this depression and all of that. You are trying to suppress it within yourself, nobody to talk to. In that kind of situation, how can you raise healthy children?
It's impossible. You know, the thing is that your children are actually seeing. You know, the children,
yes, are seeing, but you are trying as much as possible to paint the picture to them that all is well.
You know, the thing about
we are fond of that thing as women.
You know, the thing is that our children actually see and they understand more than we even think that they understand.
Exactly.
You know, because for the fact that you're not talking or they're not coming to talk to you, they have friends in school that they're talking to. And they're like, my mom is behaving like this. Then they say, that's how my own mommy is too. You know, and they start talking and they start having conversations, exchanging ideas and all that. Your children are actually seeing you. Your children know that there's something wrong with mommy. And maybe because if they come and talk to you, you've not been able to create that open channel of conversation where your children can talk to you and you just snap at them. They won't come and talk to you. But they know that there's something wrong.
Do you confide in them? How do you confide in them without...
No, so the thing about it is that...
without damaging their own self-esteem.
So the thing about it is that you're not meant to... Not that you're to confide in them, right? But if you're going through stress, just tell them, right, my mom is stressed. Can we have this conversation in the next 2 minutes or next 5 minutes? Or when we need to rest?
No, maybe you want to pour out and you want to pour out on
but you shouldn't pour out. No. So you're burdened. You're giving them the burden so that they're not yet mentally stable or So that is so that's not right.
Some women do it.
No, but that's not right. They make their children. They do not be reporting their husband. No, it's not right. Because you're burdening. You're calling burden.
That has become the norm in families.
Yes, it has become a norm in the family. What's the situation whereby the children are seeing? They are seeing what the husband or their father is doing to their mother, the way she's being treated and all that.
So it becomes
they cannot talk. You cannot challenge your father or
So how do they get help?
How do they get help? And then the mother is going through this kind of situation.
So I've worked with families like that where the mom has been through domestic violence, and they also bring the children, that the children need help. Because there's something we call adverse childhood experiences. If children have gone through certain form of experiences before the age of 18, that child might end up having a mental disorder in adulthood. So I've had some enlightened women who've gone through divorce, who've gone through domestic violence, and they say they would like their children to come and have sessions just to pour out whatever is going, wherever they have bottles up, they just want them to talk and all that. I know the good thing about talk therapy is that it helps you to unburden yourself. It helps you to, you're burdening yourself, you are getting help, and because you're getting help, it makes you to see life better.
Okay. Well, interesting conversation. Actually,
we cannot cover this up in an hour. It's definitely not enough, but we'll just have to wrap it up here. Today's conversation reminds us that taking care of our minds, especially as women, is just as important as taking care of our bodies. As much as you would see a doctor, go to see behavioral, what did you call them?
Health scientist.
Behavioral health scientist.
Or a mental health professional.
Mental health professional. Be well, body, soul, and everywhere.
Well, we've seen and we've also learned that healing doesn't happen in isolation. Families, friends, workplaces, faiths, communities, and society all have a role to play in creating safe spaces where women can speak, heal, and thrive in whatever they do.
And of course, at Women's World, we believe that emotionally healthy women build emotionally healthy families, and emotionally healthy families build stronger communities. Let's continue to break the stigma surrounding mental health, encourage honest conversation, and remind every woman that she doesn't have to carry life burden alone. Our sincere appreciation goes to Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
sharing your expertise and practical insight into this discussion.
Thank you.
I am Kike Lomo Okere, and alongside my co-hosts
Priscilla.
And of course, Anita Patrick. Amazing conversation so far, Kike.
All right, until next time, take care of your mind, care for one another, and remember your mental health matters a lot. Till next time, stay connected on Global Television channel 365 on DSTV and 276 on Star Times.
Well, so free TV, by the way.
Yes, and free TV, by the way.
All right.
And of course, on socials, very good, as displayed on your screen using at Global TV NG. Thank you for staying with us. Have a lovely day ahead of you. Bye.